those of you who are here. Pretty soon, I'm going to be joined by, shoot, what I already forgot his name. Dog with Phone, who is a player from New Hampshire, if I'm remembering correctly, who I got to chat with at the circuit opener I ran a few months ago, and then we had another conversation about Court being overpowered, and we're going to come full circle and we're going to play some runner games in this meta. However, they're not quite ready yet, so I'm just going to play a game or two, and then when they join us, we'll do some runner games. And we've got a little bit of news to cover at some point later, but I'll wait till people are here. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to play. I'm also a little bit worried about if the cards do release in by the end of July, that spoiler season will be happening while I'm doing a bunch of traveling. But we'll see. It's a great opening hand. I don't think we even have to pop a border control. Hey, Anarcho. Yeah, I think I don't mind giving up a point here. We can get that. We can pick up this point a lot of times. I wonder what the average expected value of running a corp who does this as their opening. Okay, so I think it's special. No, it's Afshar on HQ, special offer on R&D, Rashida in server 1. Oh, cool. Hey Ed. Hey Balram Wu. But Balram Wu, I keep missing your streams, unfortunately. Because they're like kind of as I'm finishing up from work, and I like forget to check it as I'm walking home. But I need to go back and watch some VODs at some point. This looks like just a... Oh, is this actually a 45 Hoshiko? That's amazing. That's a thing that like you actually kind of don't see that much right now. I'm not sure. I don't know. I've been slowly persuaded that Big Hoshiko is not giving up nearly as much as my assumption is. But okay, so we're packing hunting grounds. So we're trying to beat Loki Ag, which to be honest I haven't seen anyone run. Yeah, it's a crowd of true classics here. So. Wow, okay. That's gonna get spicy. Do I score? Do I put the Yakov down? I feel like Stavka and R&D, Yakov and Server 1, advance. Hey, DC Mirrormorph. My comment was just that, I'm coming more around to Big Hoshiko being fine because Bankar is quite good and Corpse struggle to punish Big Hoshiko right now, which is definitely slowly persuading me that maybe a Hoshiko ban's fine. It's just funny to me because we never, like, yes, people did talk about banning Max, but if you told me those people were serious, I would say pull the other ones got bells on it. Like, I don't know. So yeah. That's fantastic, Ed. That's great. I will see you there. I'm looking forward to it, to meet you in person. So, it should be a fun time. I may not go as hard as a lot of the people that I haven't met but know via the internet, but we'll make it work. Yeah, my wife and I booked tickets, so we're gonna be there for a little bit for about a week. So, okay, so I think actually what I might do... Oh, I think I took out my Malapert data vault here. Oh no, I didn't. Oh, this is sick. Okay, what card do I want out of my deck? I think Audacity is probably my highest plus EV card here. Yeah, Narco, I do look forward to meeting you for the first time again because I think we talked for all of about 5 seconds at Worlds, and I did not recognize you, which is on me. So I'm hoping to not be full-time judging this year, so have some actual energy to like say hello to people. And yeah, we'll see. So who knows? That I may be full-time doing Worlds running stuff anyway. Okay, I mean this draw is just this is a good draw. I just want to get some non-agenda card here, I think, and I honestly think I might discard the Spin Doctor. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely helping that my opponent is not, like, actually doing much to contest me, but genuinely, I'm thinking, I've taken out 2 of the former carries here, and I think it might just be right. What do we got for bin breakers? We got them all. We got 21 credits. I think we can still res Stavka. We're going to trash Malapert. We're going to install a Rashida in server 1. I will trash the Botulus. No other programs. Trash. Do I res the special offer here? I don't get a tutor off of it. So there is a chance I get mob punished here, but we're fine. Why not get spin there? Because I want to win. Uh, and like so I'm not sure what. I guess spin draws me 2 cards, so I'm less likely to get mob punished, right? That's the real. That's like genuinely correct. Oh, I also should actually do the Rashida shuffle there, in some cases, but it's fine. GG. Yeah, I mean, like, Spin Doctor is marginally better there, I think. I probably discarding the spin was also not correct. I'm not sure it's a huge EV because like this remote is still pretty safe, but let me go and get the guess going. And all right, Derek, let me know when you can hear me. Yeah, there's definitely part of me that's like, I can't do better than that game, so. Hello. Ooh.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can.
Fantastic. And I think you're going out to stream. Can you say something real quick?
Something real quick.
That's fantastic. All right, I've got you as both Dog on Phone and Derek on stream with he him pronouns. That's all good?
Yeah, that's fine.
Fantastic. All right, so yeah, Derek, I gave a very brief intro on stream that basically we met at the circuit opener I ran like 2 months ago now. And
Yep,
and you
right.
and you came to me and said, Jeff, explain to me why Corp isn't broken. And I said, no, it's just a skill gap. And then we had an hour-long conversation, and I was unable to actually convince you that that is the actual problem and that Corp isn't just broken. And I've had more people talk to me and say, no, Corp is just broken right now. I think that's an accurate summary of the conversations we mostly had so far.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
And then, but you said you want to do the I think the really fun and cool thing, which is try and get better at Netrunner, and in particular, you want to do some running practice before U.S. Nationals in what 2 weekends or something like that.
Yeah, 2 weekends I think sounds right. It's like
Jeez.
the 3rd weekend from now.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good. That's slightly better. So, and this is an interesting meta to run in, because you have to be prepped for so many things. But I think you wanted to start. I guess I will start with very quickly. What's your Netrunner experience, or prior experience and current experience? I guess.
As far as like time playing or what I've been playing.
So, let's start with time playing, and then we can go to what playing as a second question.
Okay, I've been playing since earlier this year in January or February, whenever Captain Con was. That's when I started playing.
Cool. That's great.
I mostly thought I was gonna play Startup, just like as like a side game, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But and the card pool feels a little bit too small, and the boat is everywhere. So
Yeah.
we're branching out. We're branching out.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty fair reason. And so, what have you been playing in standard?
So I have been mostly experimenting, we'll say. Corpse side, I've been playing as Mari pretty
Okay.
consistently. But runner side, I've just been playing different things every time. I played Essa at the event that you ran, and then at like our weekly meetup in New Hampshire, I was playing the side games shaper Akiko or
Oh,
something like
Akiko
that.
Nisei, yeah, one of my
Yeah.
favorites, for sure.
But yeah, I've just been trying different things in as far as like runner side.
Cool. And I guess so we said we would talk about what you wanted do with runner side on stream. So I guess like, do you have like a thing where you're like, I want to do this interesting thing and make it as good as possible, or what are the best decks? Let me pick one and grind on it. What's your feeling at the moment?
Beat personal evolution 70% of the time.
Okay. So if we want to beat personal evolution 70% of the time, I think Big Hoshiko is my go-to deck for that. It is effectively designed to beat that deck, and then just kind of shores up everything else as it goes. Um, so let's just go quickly to always be running, and hopefully you're seeing my screen on Discord as well. Um, and yeah, let's go find some. And Diogen, I'll answer your question a little bit. I might wait till we get in game and have a bit of a lull. Um, I know a bunch of people here. Did they publish their lists? Oh, right. This is just a... Ben just went and grabbed a straight up... yeah. This seems like a solid list. 62 cards, 3 bravados, 2 deuces, 3 dirties, 3 moshings, 3 pinholes, 3 raindrops got stone, 3 steel skins, 3 gambles, 3 hippos, 2 maws, 3 zeros, 2 daily casts of Fenris, a dream net, or a pair of dream nets, 3 liberateds, 2 paladins, 3 bankars, 3 of all the breakers, 3 botchluses, 3 fermenters, and 2 stargates. That's a pretty solid starting point, I think. So we'll go and actually, is this just the exact list? Yeah, it is. Fantastic. So we will go, and what I'll probably have you do is just, you'll tell me what you want to do on the turn, and we can discuss sort of anything that comes up as we're playing. Sound
Okay,
good?
because I'll warn you, I'm awful, but it sounds good.
All right. Quickly, to answer Diogene's question, all the complaints I hear about PE and not being able to play the runner side, what do you think about that? I think right now PE Grinder is super focused. It really funnels what you can do in a game against PE in a way that I think is generally a bit of an unfortunate experience for Netrunner, which usually has a lot of dynamism where both players get to affect the board state a lot. And against PE, it feels like most runners don't really get to affect the board state. They and the corp player are playing against the corpse deck, and the runner's deck kind of doesn't matter. Which, I think is a just sort of an unfortunate game design hole that we've ended up in through a mix of FFG and NSG cards and design choices that make things a little bit tricky.
Yeah, I think I'm saying the same thing, but I think my version of that is that when you play against PE, there are a maximum number of cards that you can play for what they say that they do.
Yeah.
And if you play more cards than that, you lose.
Yep.
And so that number of cards better win the game. And if it doesn't, too bad.
So for this hand, what are you thinking about it versus the outfit? We've got Laundry, Deuces Wild, Steel Skin Scarring, Black Orchestra, and Pinhole Threading.
Yeah, so this is like a perfect place to start because even here, I always feel like I'm looking for money and then question mark.
So to me, we want money and draw primarily. Against outfit,
Sure.
it's a little bit trickier, right? We actually are going to need to probably get a Stargate going pretty early if we want to win, because if they get ahead of us, it's going to be some real problems. Um, but to me, this hand's pretty good. There's a lot of worse hands that we can hit. We've got 2 draw cards in Deuces and Steelskin. We've got an Econ card in Laundry. The Penal Threading is probably pretty useless in this matchup. We can maybe use it to, like, sniff out whether a scored card is, actually an agenda. And I think Black Orchestra is basically blank in this matchup, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't know what code gates they run outside of Afshar. Um, but all right. So Corp basically just goes too big to fail, gains 10 credits, because cards balanced, and then Ice is HQ, Ice is server one. What are you thinking about here?
Okay, so I think we talked about this at your event actually, but this is complicated by the fact that they already have 15 credits, but like in startup, a lot of the times I'll see if they'll res that ice to like kind of ruin their economy, ideally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's gonna happen here because they have too much money, um but I think like run early on, and then um, I guess would you play the steel skin first to see what you hit?
I hadn't thought of that, but I actually kind of like that as a first play. I think the sequencing for a turn like that is Steelskin. If I don't draw anything good, Laundry R&D, and then run
Yep.
server one because I'm a little bit worried about a spin. Though it's a little bit weird to pop a Spin Doctor with one card, so maybe you can compress the Laundry clicks. Um, so now I'm definitely thinking something like Laundry R&D, play a sure gamble, and then
Yeah.
potentially run server one. Um,
Okay.
So I don't want them getting a naked Rashida, and we do actually have the Deuces Wild to make a recovery from an Econ Warfare HHN pretty salvageable. Um, and here, for one credit, I'm usually going to trash a Spin Doctor. Audacity is an important enough card in their deck. I don't really want to let it sit around. We also
That makes
get
sense.
some extra money from Hoshiko Flip and the Link, so the Econ Warfare trace hits them quite a bit. Um, Yeah, I guess like when you think about you sit down your opponent's playing outfit. What kind of outfit decks are you thinking about, and how does that influence your game plan?
Yeah. So I've just started just like trying. Oh, there we go. There's the HHN as
Yep, they definitely had it.
predicted. So I'm actually curious what you'll do here, I guess.
Yeah, so I'm of two minds on this. I think probably what I'm doing is Deuces Wild for a credit and clearing a tag, clearing down to one tag and installing the fermenter. I think is my intention here. Um, Basically, one tag punishment isn't real in this format. Um,
Right.
and I want to get the fermenter down. The worst case is that this is a Rashida, which is probably what it is. But if they happen to have the second hard hitting news, that's not great for me. But the fact that that threat is down is pretty good already. Um, so like this definitely is not an ideal situation, but it's not the end of the world either. Where we are on turn three, we've gotten out an HHN. Our econ's not in a good spot, but it's recoverable. And we've got our fermenter ticking, and they're only on 1 point. But this is definitely a bit of a tricky. This is a bit of a tricky turn. But I think it's like a nuanced turn that I'm not like I think you can do a bunch of ways and be fine. So what are you thinking about for this turn?
Uh, I don't know. I'm worried about. So you mentioned that one tag punishment isn't real, because it would be like we can talk about it. It'd be retribution and nothing else, basically, which is
Yeah,
not relevant now.
some people will play a single end of the line, to try and get
Okay.
at like S's that take a bunch of core damage or something.
Okay.
Um, or Hoshiko players that play carelessly. So at some point we can definitely think about shaking the tag, but it's not like a if there's better plays that we can do, I'm not super worried about it. And retribution doesn't have a big effect on us because all of our icebreakers are these, and if our opponent's retributing to getting a fermenter out, like yeah, that's obviously not ideal, but it's a weird card for them to include at all.
Yeah. I guess I'm on the one hand, I feel like you could. Okay, here's one thing you could do. You could use the fermenter to clear the tag, and play daily casts, but that feels a little bit like a waste of a fermenter to me.
Mm-hmm.
But so I mean, maybe I would draw here or something,
Yeah, I mean
and,
that's
and try
exactly
and
what I'm
find some
thinking of doing,
econ stuff.
and that's exactly what we did. Um, so yeah, I think like now that I've drawn a sure gamble, I'm super happy to just do this for my turn. Just say, okay, now I'm back up on money. Uh,
Yeah.
there's not a threat of another thing immediately. You know, we have potential lines where we can like clear a tag and start running R&D. This is definitely going to be annoying, and this is the big way that we lose this Hoshiko, and is maybe the argument for actually drawing a second time. Um, this being a bulwark and an atlas with a counter makes it very tricky. Makes it much trickier for us to win. Um, and there's not much we can probably do to interact with it, though drawing is a good first step here.
So with the so the card in server 2
Yeah,
that's faced, like, what are you reading that as right now?
Spin Doctor.
Another,
Um,
like, another spin doctor.
yeah, yeah.
I
If
think
Rashida
okay.
would have been popped last
They would have
turn.
used it. Yep.
Same with a wall to wall. And there's not really asset traps the outfit wants to run. Um,
So I guess on this turn, I don't. So I guess at the beginning of this turn, I guess I feel like we can't interact with server 4 really.
so
So
yeah, part of me, yeah, as I'm thinking about this, oh sorry, I'm thinking like, oh, you know what? Let's make them res the bulwark because it does actually set them back a little. But if I'm going to do that, we're going to pop the fermenter first. Then we're going to go make them res the bulwark. And so now they spend 7 credits to do not very much to us.
yeah, to gain $2 and end the thing.
Yeah. So I guess they spend 5 credits to end the run, which is fine.
Now, um, spent 5 credits.
Because they get they spend 10, but then they get 3 back from the bad pub and 2 additional back from the subroutine.
Okay, I got you.
I'm
Um,
probably yeah.
and then how did you read that this was a bulwark? You were
Uh,
very sure that that's what it was.
we
Just
saw
because
one
the
off of
scoring
R and
remote.
D.
Okay, yep, we did see that. Okay.
I'm gonna run R&D here because I want to try and get some accesses whenever we can. Okay, that's a great. So now I'm like, okay, uh, I'm guessing this is an Afshar on HQ. So I'm gonna hold on running HQ. I'm gonna instead draw another card. Now we can probably go for the Bravado on HQ next turn. Oh, it's actually a Gaslight. So they're playing a different game than I thought they were. That's interesting. So they added too big to fail to HQ. And they now have Atlas with a counter, which is what we thought that would be, and kind of we're afraid it would be, but we don't have a lot of options here. So I think this turn's maybe a little bit less complicated, but definitely has a
I feel
couple
like,
of options. But
yeah, I mean, this turn is like some combination of running R&D, clearing the tag, playing daily cast.
oh, interesting. I'm doing none of. I'm doing probably
None of those
only run
things.
R and
There you
D.
go.
Yeah. So the thing here is, I want to try and figure out what's in HQ if there's something
Okay.
there. And so the at this point we don't probably need any more money to try and win this game. Which subroutine do I want to break here? I think I don't want them to draw.
What
I
did
think
they
I'm
res?
yeah. Sorry, they rose the gatekeeper here. Um, so I might just run R&D here so I get to keep the Hoshiko flip because it's like basically an access and a steal. Fantastic. Um, yeah. I really want to draw quite a bit because we need to get through our deck to find our barrier breakers, so they can't just keep doing this play of stalling an agenda behind the bulwark. Um, the reason I wanted to run HQ there is, in some world, if we actually make that run successfully on HQ, and we even like trash the too big to fail, that can slow them down quite a bit. Um, Okay, so this suggests to me that they don't have anything in hand, which is quite weird. for this board state, and then I'm like, okay, I'm happy to just keep drawing cards here because the thing I'm trying to make sure I don't get is locked out right now.
Sure.
Um, so yeah, like draw, hit a Steelskin Scarring. We have two breakers now. Um, Now I'm maybe okay with removing a tag and dropping the casts because now we're not like completely gear checked out. And next turn we can maybe even Hippo HQ and try and go through because we're not going to be able to deal with the server 4 unless we get very lucky. Yeah, so we actually just have to win this turn, and this is the downside of running with against outfit with this deck is like sometimes you just get gear checked. Um, and actually, I'm wondering. I mean, they have it in our. Yeah, we just have to actually steal 6 points here. That's our only out. Um, so it goes sometimes. Turn 7 and we lose. So.
I want to ask something in the chat, but I'm not sure what they're asking me. What am I looking for in something?
Oh yeah, so Ed was asking for what are you looking for in the new set release, the Automata Initiative.
Oh.
Um,
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm part of me. So okay, I'm gonna ask you a counter question that's
okay.
kind of related to my answer, which is I I popped in while I was while you were playing and you were mentioning like you could see a Hoshiko ban maybe, and I missed exactly the context, so I don't want to like put words in your mouth, but um I wonder how much of Hoshiko's popularity is like Hoshiko is too good versus like other options are either not good enough or not well positioned enough. Because some of them like read strong, like other IDs read strong, but maybe they are not attacking on the right angle. Um,
Yeah.
so I guess I'm
Um,
wondering what you think about that, because then I guess my answer would be like IDs that are more well positioned.
so the question you just asked was why is Hoshiko popular right now, if I'm remembering correctly?
Yeah, like what?
Or
Yeah, what
why
is
are we
it
not
about
seeing other
Hoshiko?
IDs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's more that. Why are we like, like there's some Zaya, right? But like, is there really? Isn't it like Essa and Hoshiko like all the way down?
I mean, it certainly feels like it's Essa and Hoshiko all the way down. Um, I think it's interesting. Like this outfit deck is basically designed to beat, not designed to beat Big Hoshiko, but is very very good at against Big Hoshiko, because as you can see, it can just high roll and win on turn 7. Like we just had to go full YOLO mode because we only stole 2 points because we didn't find our paperclip in the top 15 or a Bankar, and it's like that's realistically what happens when you play a 62 card deck. You play the 62 card deck. However, so like why is 62 card Hoshiko something that people will talk about as a good deck? Basically because Hoshiko is the best draw card in Anarch, and Anarch is the runner faction with just the most cards that are relevant to what the corp is trying to do, um, or can splash for the cards that do the other things that need to happen. So Anarch is this weird combination of small synergies that add up to just being, it turns out, just miles better than what you can do in Shaper and Criminal. At least in my experience and the people I talk to for the most part. So you have a couple of things. You've got liberated accounts for Mentor in Faction, which are both really good. Well, okay, people will always tell me that Liberated Accounts is not that good of an econ card, so I'll drop that off. Fermentor is probably one of the most robust non-interactive economy cards in the game right now, so getting to play it for free, that's obviously a good start. Um, Liberated Accounts, I think, is quite solid. You've got Steelskin Scarring, which is like 1 credit for 3 cards is like a little bit dicey, but you have a bunch of synergies points with Steelskin Scarring that make it better. And so what you, and then you also have the Hoshiko ID along with DreamNet that works. Actually kind of makes some sense in the Hoshiko ID. So you get all of these little synergistic draws. You get Bankar, which then says until the corp has 2 pieces of ice on a server, I can just get in, provided this is on the field, right? And so your whole deck just becomes, if you look at the composition, and I will flip over to this. Um, when you look at this Hoshiko deck, it is 9 ice, 12 ways, 15 ways to break ice between the 3 Bankars, the 3 Breakers, and the 3 Botchluses. And then Stargate and Maw and Hippo, Maw, Hippo, and Stargate are all the ways you disrupt and slow down the corp. And then every single other card is some form of synergistic money, which is a little bit wild. The other card that I will shout out that people have been clamoring for a ban is Paladin Poemu, which is basically, as people have pointed out, a 1-cost Rozeki that uses up 0 MU because effectively you will always be installing cards, and you can even, because you're playing Anarch, if you don't feel like feeding Paladin, you can let him trash one of your bin breakers, and then it will just install it for free in the future if you ever need to install that bin breaker. And when you go and look at what the options are in the other factions, they just run out of good economy cards and good disruptive cards before you have a reason to start playing them, which is just like a weird state the board has kind of ended up in. Now, that's not quite the whole story. If I'm playing against this outfit deck, one of the, being Shaper would be good, right? Being Shaper, where I have Clot Threat and Misdirection, means that I probably get to turn off this whole deck. But if I'm playing that same Shaper deck and I go up against an Ag Infusion or a PE that's got a Warroid Keeling server, blowing up my whole board to trash the Keeling is game losing. And I'm going to start slower than Anarch because lat draw is a little bit less consistent and my early turns are less explosive. And Crim doesn't have it feels right now like you're playing bad Anarch, where your economy is slightly worse and you don't have as good disruption. Diversion of funds just isn't relevant against a lot of the corp decks that are popular right now. Again, for example, this outfit deck doesn't really care. It doesn't mind going below on credits because it will just bounce right back up on the next click.
Went from 2 credits to 18 credits or something on this game.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so then it's like, okay, so if we're just going to play like the reg runner, the Anarch card pool is the best for that. And I will say up until Borealis, NSG in Gateway and Ashes printed, I would say, basically exclusively kind of reg runner cards. I guess they did print some engine cards, in fairness, particularly in Ashes Crim. Turns out those engine cards aren't good enough. Yeah, Jamie, as is what I was realizing, has some engine stuff, but basically you just play Boomerang and Crim and Bravado and Begulter, which are just good stuff cards, and everything else is like slightly too low in power level to really be good.
I wanted to play as, but
yeah. And so then you say, okay, well, if the best reg runner and most of the support cards for runner side have been reg for the last 3 years, then we need to look at what other options we have. And so Tag Me Zaya is like a fun meta pick, and I think potentially a really solid one. Where you can say, hey, against this outfit deck, like if I apply some pressure early, I can just I can do a deep dig on R&D. I've got a 40 card deck, so it's going to be harder to gear check me, and I can play kind of aggressively and hopefully make that balance work. And that has some legs here, but it's got some other really bad matchups. Um, and then similarly, like Control Shaper, Clotlock just doesn't do enough right now. And honestly, their breakers are not the best. Like you end up spending a lot of influence on breakers and money. Yeah, and I could believe that outfit isn't the best matchup for sure for Tag Me Zaya. Because you can't deny them to slow them down. Krim really likes an HB meta, and HB is effectively not present except for Sports Metal, which is a very coin flippy Tag Me Zaya matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I think so this is not my own words. This is like me regurgitating what I feel like I hear people talking about. Is there are 4 decks, and it's like PE, Asmari, Outfit, and like Ag Infusion, and then like Sports Metal is like 10th, and 6 through 9 doesn't exist.
I don't know that I'm quite that down on Sports Metal. It's definitely the worst of all of those corps. But yeah, I think that's kind of the landscape for most that most people will be thinking about as the highest popularity corpse, um, and like probably the most likely to put up results. Um, uh,
So in the last game, right, to do like a
yeah.
quick game review, where do you have a sense of where that game went wrong, or do you think you just got rolled by
Uh,
draw?
I may have a little bit rolled by the draw, and maybe I wasn't drawing hard enough. Like the runs on R&D were, uh, uh, maybe not very good. I sort of was like, oh, okay, they're a Hoshiko. They're like kind of a draw as well, but um, in it's like maybe we need to draw a little bit more aggressively. I think also like, hey, our opponent having a turn one Econ Warfare HHN into Bulwark Atlas, like our opponent had a very very good draw. So I think that's I don't mind that too much in a matchup that's a little bit tricky for us. I think if I played Big Hoshiko more, I'd maybe have a little bit more to say about that matchup. But we should maybe quickly talk about this matchup. We're up against Mirror Morph, which I don't know exactly what to look for in this matchup. Um, I'm probably okay with this hand. I think there are much better hands we can get, but I don't think this is a terrible hand.
Yeah, I guess
Basically,
to me. Go
yeah.
ahead.
No, you can jump on in.
I was just gonna say, I feel like you could do worse. Like you have Bankar, you have weird money, but it is money, and you have a card that draws cards.
Yeah, I'm actually. You know what? I'm kind of curious to see if we can mulligan into something better.
Okay.
Okay, we mulligan into something way worse, but that's fine. We'll have learned our lesson, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I sort of was like, oh, you know what? If we could get a Dirty Laundry, a Daily Casts, a Fermenter, a Raindrops Cut Stone, like we have a lot of good hits. Um, and so like I was hoping that we could hit one of those. Doesn't look like that's gonna happen here. Um, but the thing is, there's no pressure for us to actually do anything here. So just going draw, draw. Am I drawing an extra time here, or am I like installing Hippo? Click for no. I think I might just. Hmm. There's a world where you just click for 2 credits here.
That makes sense to me because I think you've 0 money, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely a bad start, and I'm sure all of the snare bears are screaming at me for being so bad. But yeah.
I am in fact on the phone.
But our opponent's also not threatening us at all, and so we don't need to be playing like like madmen here trying to rush stuff out. Um, okay, so we know that server one is a non-agenda. Uh, So we can check that at some point. It might be a spin doctor.
Just because it's on ice, or
Because they install it with red level clearance. This is one of the things that I
okay.
see people do a lot, which I think is just straight up wrong. Like, you probably should gain the click back and gain 2 credits there, then install the card in
And
server
then install
1.
the card. Yeah,
It
and not to
does
give
the
away
same
that it's
thing,
not an
it just
agenda.
doesn't give away. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, what's your thinking for this turn?
Uh, I'm still so unhappy with our hand.
Well, we have a,
I
we
mean,
have
I
a
guess,
very nice 1 card solution for that, which is just we hit
yeah, I
Steel
guess I
Skin
would
here.
play Steel Skin
Yep.
and then try and find something.
Okay. I think for me here, I'm pretty happy. Trying to think what I want on moshing here. Because this hand still isn't great, right? So we can just start moshing things away that aren't doing anything for us right now.
I, yeah, so is it like a hippo, a pinhole, and something?
Yeah, the problem is I'm kind of predicting that this is MCA. Um, so I'm thinking like I actually might like is it Hippo Botulus Dreamnet? That seems a little bit wild. I actually might draw again here and then plan to like install Paladin, install Hippo. Um, okay, we have a better option now. And then we were probably gonna discard. I don't. It's tricky whether we discard the moshing or the extra hippo. I think I'm discarding the. Am I overvaluing the hippo? I feel like it's probably good in this matchup. Um, so I'm gonna slightly overvalue the hippo and kind of see. And this is like a thing we can think back on at the end of the game. Is was this decision correct for sure? Um, Okay, so our opponent's pretty flooded and still not presenting us a lot of threats. So that's the other reason I'm more okay with ditching the moshing is like they haven't asked us to do anything yet. And so going for slower plays seems fine. So let's see, they install the card in server 1, they play the subliminal, they clicked for a click, so now they're gonna use their mirror morph to gain a credit, and then they're gonna play a hedge fund. This could be some kind of econ warfare deck, maybe. Which would definitely be annoying. My like default here is like, oh, just install a DreamNet, run archives. Because we'd have enough for the Ikawa. And then we get the flip and we get DreamNet going next turn and stuff. But there's no reason to do that before drawing here, because we can draw into good cards like that. Um, and honestly, I think so. Actually, I might do watch list on HQ here. We'll just start getting this thing charged up just so that we can do that. Yeah, and Marco, the reason I'm being slightly hesitant to run is 15 credits and not doing anything else with the board state's a bit suspicious. I don't think it's truly suspicious, but it's a I don't know. It's just slightly sus enough for me to be like, there's no real reason to do the run on archives. I think, um, and we're not like gonna get stuff off of running server 1 either, so just drawing is fine. But like our opponent's kind of just playing a very slow early deck. We've got breakers. We're just waiting to get more of the money out of our deck, and so getting down DreamNet and starting to run is definitely worth doing. And that would arguably be the reason to have run last turn. Um, so just gonna make this run. Okay, DRM. So we're definitely setting up something. Am I just drawing past? I think I'm just overdrawing here. So basically, my thinking is like, what I'm hoping to see is that server one is an MCA. It doesn't look like it is. That's interesting. It's a luminal. Um, install, click the MCA. Okay. So that's fine. Um, so here's the question of how do we want to deal with this board state? What's your thinking?
I guess my thought is we should use the pinhole to get rid of the MCA, and
Mm-hmm. So here's the way I'm thinking about this board state: is this MCA doesn't like cost us a click this every turn we leave it up. The question is, do I care about that click relative to other stuff I can do? Because if I wait for the corp to invest another click into that, it's probably good for me.
okay, that
I'm
makes sense.
probably getting a little bit more value out of that click. And so because we have the pinhole threading in hand, we have this really nice safe line where we can actually just dirty laundry HQ with 3 botchless counters. Magnet is maybe the only card that hoses us, but we even have the Black Orchestras in the bin to deal with Magnet. Um, and so we're actually just getting right through. We're getting a dirty laundry off. There's maybe a world. Okay, so this is Audacity. So this is some kind of hybrid fast advanced deck. Um, One option here is to actually just run server one, make them invest credits, and then next turn we can hit them with the pinhole threading anyway. Um, just to maximize the amount that we slow them down. Um, which is sort of how I'm thinking about how to control this. Like, I want them to not invest in centrals so that we can get in there later. We don't have MK Ultra, so there is some punishment that can happen here in the form of Drafter and Ansel. But they have no cards in archives to install, so I'm not quite as worried about the install subroutine on Ansel. Um, and then much more worried, and so I can just prevent my own stuff from getting trashed, and then everything else can fire. And if I lose a click out of this turn, I already have a card to discard this turn anyway. Okay, so we're encountering our first ice where we have actual game
Mm.
choices. What are you thinking here?
I think this card is very funny.
Okay, so this is Fairchild 3.
Yeah, I'm doing math to see if we can even.
Yep, so we can spend 6, we can spend 3 to install, and then another
Yeah.
3 to break 2 of the subroutines, and then another 3 to break the last subroutine. So that would be
But do we have this? We don't have the strength the first time, no? Or
so the first boost we install Black Orchestra for 3 credits.
yes,
We boost it for 3, it does nothing. We boost it for
yeah,
another 3, and it breaks
yes,
2, and then we boost
yeah,
it. So we spend a total of 12 credits to get through this Fairchild.
yes.
Um, Now, the alternate cost is probably that we spend 6 and the run gets ended. Um, and we technically save 1 credit with installing the Black Orchestra with Paladin, though we have other options that we on the Paladin. So what's your thinking here?
Um, I guess I'm in. I don't know what's correct, but I guess I'm inclined to bounce off of it.
Yeah, that's my thinking here as well. Um, yeah, spending 6 is not the end of the world here because we have just a Liberated that we can throw down. Actually, you know what? We're supposed to trash the daily cast there. Uh,
That makes sense because it's 2 credits versus 3. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think that was like clearly correct.
Yeah. The other, like, there's probably a world where we realize that we have that daily cast of 2 and we spend 9 and break the Black Orchestra. Um, so if they're thinking on this core damage sub, that really strongly suggests to me that they're going for some kind of core, that they've got ontological dependencies in the deck.
Ontological, yeah.
Because I don't think anything else, like, you don't want to have to, yeah, you don't want us not, like, getting through and resing that for free. So I think we have multiple good options for this last click. So this is almost more of a what would you like to do with this last click here?
We're gonna pitch a card, but there's clearly a card to pitch. Um, I'm torn between drawing a card or playing Liberated, I guess.
Yeah, I think I think playing the Liberated is fine. I think it's like, to me it's between playing the Liberated or playing the Deuces, and I think Liberated is absolutely fine here.
What would you do with the Deuces if you played the Deuces?
So I would probably expose the ice behind the Fairchild 3,
Yeah.
and then make a run on R&D. But it's
and
not.
So then you would. There's nothing that could be on R&D that you'd be concerned would just blow you out because you still have $7. Or I guess
Yeah,
you had more at
basically.
that time. No, because you play the Deuces.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we would be up a little bit more dollars. And my board state's not really blow outable yet. Like, yes, these are good utility cards that, it'd be nice to not lose. But red level clearance, install, click MCA, Audacity, score a 3-2. Okay, so this is a very, very aggressive deck. It's interesting. I suspect it's not great, and this Maw is going to really help us here. So for me, I'm thinking, okay, I want to lock R&D. I want to trash the MCA. And just make sure that we're set up after that. So I'm thinking it's probably click Liberated, run R&D. Maybe it's click Liberated, pinhole the MCA, and, like, do a Deuces Wild draw or something like that. Does that make sense?
I think that makes sense, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to click Liberated. We're going to do the pinhole threading on Archives.
So in my mind, when I'm thinking about how this game is going, I guess, how do you feel this game is going?
I think it's going to be okay here because basically my thinking right now is next turn we have this really nice line of potentially even install the Maw and then start running HQ here. There's definitely ways for the Corp to sneak us out, and that maybe we have to trek this Fairchild 3. But we have a potential line where it's like, I'm trying to figure out how do I maximize my credits here. I'm trying to figure out if we can go Maw, Dirty Laundry HQ, install the Hippo, and break server 1. But I think we're a few credits short of making that actually work. But I think Maw Laundry sets us up to do that next turn, and so I'm feeling that's one option. The other option is we do just say, no, our priority this turn is dealing with the Fairchild 3. And I think we have the option to do that as well here.
Yeah, I think, I guess infinite clicks, infinite credits. You play some combination of Maw, Hippo, Deuces Wild to expose behind the Fairchild, run the Fairchild server, and Hippo the Fairchild, right?
Yeah.
Like some combination of that.
Yep. It's up to you. I think genuinely, like, I'm not 100% sure on which is the correct line here. I'm kind of okay with the idea of, if this really is a 3-2, they got me. and I'd rather go like Ma Laundry HQ, just try and start building some of my own threats on the board.
Yeah, I
Um,
feel like this is like econ turn for sure.
okay, so we steal send a message. That's going to give us some nice little bit of info, and then I feel like basically equalizes the game completely.
That was
Okay,
pretty
so it's a
good.
tier on
Yeah. Okay,
HQ, which
now
we don't care
I
about.
think it's pretty ahead.
Yeah.
I know somebody in the chat was saying we were already massively ahead, but I thought 4-0 was a little spooky. But now it's like that was.
Yeah. So to me, I'm definitely thinking like, okay, I can either install bank. It's like maybe even just install Bankar, install Hippo past turn. I think is probably fine
I
here.
think that makes sense. Yeah.
Um, okay, so this is a Rashida. The nice thing is we can just run through server one right now. It's gonna cost us either 3 cards or roughly 1 trillion credits. I think both of which are honestly reasonable options. Uh, and we definitely have a line of hippoing HQ with Bankar on server one and kind of just going for it. Okay, so they played a red level clearance. They installed an MCA.
Hmm. This again.
Yep. Uh, let's see. Yeah, I mean, a lot of mirror morph decks are just about recurring MCAs. Okay, so Hoshiko's going to trigger, Paladin's going to trigger, Botulus going to trigger. So, do you? The question is, do we want to go after the MCA in server one right now? Or actually, the literal question in front of us is, do we want to use Bankar, or where do we want to put Bankar this turn?
Yeah, and I guess I feel like you have the money. So in my mind, we have the money to get into server one, but I don't feel like we have the money to get into server one and trash the thing and still be in good shape.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me think about putting Bankar on like R&D instead or something.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
But
one option for thinking about getting into server one is that we can pay 3 cards. But I think Bankar R&D, as you said, is actually a really reasonable line here. Um, so I'm happy to do
because
that.
I think like somebody said in the chat, but like they can't score again, right? So like I think
Yeah.
we have to at some point make sure that they don't sneak an agenda past us.
Yeah.
And
So I'm
that
guessing. Yeah. So what's your guess as to what's in server three?
a naked agenda.
Okay. So do you want to run it first click
I
then?
I don't know. I kind of do.
Okay. I think that's fine. My expectation is this is Spin Doctor. And the reason it's still good to run this first click is it's because it's before they can get recurrent extra MCA austerity back into their deck. And so I want to try and limit how many MCA austerities they actually get to play with this game. And now my plan is to run HQ 2 more times, or at least 1 more time, and we're just gonna, I think, blow up the tier.
That makes sense.
Actually, is
Okay.
there a reason to blow up the tier? I'm trying to think if there is. It feels fun to blow up the tier, right? It means we
It
get to go
does.
back multiple
But
times, right? That's the
don't you
that's
get
the
through it every time anyway?
uh every third turn, right? So that's why I'm actually thinking,
Yeah.
like for me, I'm trashing this because now we have a value server that we can get a lot of hippo off of. So we don't want to trash the Manic Arm. This is not particularly relevant to this board state. We're either winning or losing kind of without it. Um, and we want to get the Maw trigger if we can. Um, and for me personally here, I want to click this liberated account. The reason being, I want to make sure that we can actually contest server one next turn.
I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Because next turn I'm anticipating we put Bankar on server one, and then we just gun it click one, and so we'll have 2 clicks left to deal with whatever's behind there, including a Manic Arm that they're going to install. And we'll have 12 credits, which should be plenty for dealing with most ice and a bunch of assets or a bunch of upgrades.
So
Hoshiko
that's
draws
the
a card.
Manic Arm, right? And then that's some
Yep.
ice.
Yep.
Do you have a read on what that ice is?
I don't. We haven't seen a lot of ice. I'm generally it's a lot of Byroids, but like gatekeepers, drafters, ansels. I'm expecting just kind of value ice right now. So I think it's even though I would love to play the sure gamble, if we had one more click, I would, but we don't have one more click, so I'm just gonna run server one first click so that we can spend 2 clicks to deal with the Manic Arm, which is just a much cheaper way to deal with it. I think if the drafter is definitely one of the big ones. I'm not installing this Black Orchestra here. There's just not a lot of point. We lost a couple of cards we would have liked, but nothing too bad. Okay, Rhyme is fantastic for us here. It's basically, it actually is pretty relevant for the Fairchild, amusingly. But we have the Hippo, so we might even... like, just triple click through the Fairchild next turn. If they keep putting threats down. I'm leaning towards spending double click here because that way we can trash both the Manic Arm and the MCA Austerity, basically.
I think, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Now, admittedly, something like install advance in this server is tricky for us this turn.
That's spooky.
A little bit, but I actually think we have a very nice little pivot here. So we got them to invest in this server a lot more. Now they only have 12 credits. So I'm immediately like, oh, let's just go back into HQ now, right? They maybe don't have anything in HQ, but if they spend resources there, they can't be spending resources on server 1. If this is a 3-2, it's a 3-2, and, you know, I'm going to let them get away with that potentially. But we've got, you know, we've got other good options, and this Raindrops Cut Stone is fantastic here.
That's my favorite Netrunner card.
It's fantastic. So I'm putting Bankar on HQ because they bothered to install an ice on HQ, which makes me think they want to res it. And we're just going to Raindrops Cut Stone, click 1. There's potentially a world where we could Raindrops Cut Stone server 1 instead. And put Bankar on server 1, but I like this line more. Alright, so we lost a drafter and a 0. That seems fine. Let's see. Do we trash this Rashida? Probably, unfortunately, we do. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so the reason I said that's fantastic is we could just have a very nice moshing here. I think... Yeah, I would... What's your preference? I think 0's maybe a bit slow here.
That is my initial instinct.
Okay. I want to Bravado R&D here, I think. And then we'll install the Botulus last click if we don't get anything else. Again, like there are some potential blowouts, but we actually have a board state that's pretty forgiving of cards that we can trash. And we can't really afford, like, Drafter, we definitely can't run through, and if this is a second Drafter, oh well, but they'll at least have spent money on it. So that's kind of why I'm like saying, oh, this is a good run to target HQ. Oh, this is great for us. They spend money, we get to install a card. We get to just go and break. We make back. So we actually make money on this run, and we're almost certainly going to get a Maw trigger here. So this is where like Maw starts to actually become pretty solid for us here because it starts denying credits and value. the question for me, so the thing I'm debating is, do we need the money from daily cast, or do we want the botch list somewhere? Um, and I could actually see a good argument for just putting the botch list on the Fairchild 3 and just kind of blanking that ice.
Okay, that's interesting because I was gonna say one of the other ones, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
They
so
might
Jamie is
there.
calling out the other card I was thinking of, which is putting it on the drafter, so
That's
that
what
we can
I
just
was.
keep getting it. Okay, I think that's a really good shout to just put it on the drafter, and we'll go with that. Because yeah, now we get to run HQ for free, which is pretty good. So that's Subliminal that we knew about. It was the top of R&D. They're clicking to draw, which is great. That suggests that server 1 is not a serious threat.
Yeah.
Oh, but they're advancing it. Okay, so we probably do actually have to go after server 1. Though it could be an NGO front, but, you know, I think that's fine.
Yeah, I guess my original read was that it wasn't an agenda, but
Yeah, same. So we could go click 1, and that way we can just click through the Fairchild and waltz our way through. And it's not the best turn, but it's an okay turn, right? How do you feel about that?
I think that makes more sense than anything else I can think of.
Yeah. So I'm guessing this is probably an NGO front.
Okay.
I put Bankar on here so that we can just deal with this first ice.
Yep.
Do we install Paperclip here? I don't think there's a strong reason to install Paperclip here. None of these two cards are good. Yeah, I think this pretty much has to be an NGO front. So like, there's a world where you just call this being an NGO front so hard that you jack out here.
Yeah. I'm not that confident, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Jamie is saying you're going to resolve 4 subroutines even after breaking 2 on Fairchild. I don't know that... Oh, okay. That's an interesting line I hadn't thought about, which is you boost the Black Orchestra twice and break 2 of the subroutines on Fairchild. Then you trash the Black Orchestra, hit the rhyme. We're on 0 credits, so losing 1 doesn't matter. And then we make back 3 credits and draw 4 cards. And then we have actual clicks to do stuff with, like use our Liberated. I actually like that line quite a bit, Jamie. That's a better line than I was thinking, I think. Because that just gets us a ton of tempo back. Yeah, if it's an Ikawa, actually, that's a good point. That's unfortunate. But if it's an Ikawa, we lose to this line either way. So, because we were going to go in with no clicks. I guess we have 3 clicks to go back. So,
and then...
okay, it is an Ikawa. It's a Tranquility Home Grid. Interesting. Okay, our opponent might have gotten us here. Turns out. Well, that's a bummer. Let's see if we can make this work somehow. So we need to go into credit maximization mode. I don't think there's a way for us to make it back, but okay. Yeah, because we would need to run this click, and the Fairchild just costs us too much. I don't think it actually matters in this situation at all whether we trash the Black Orchestra or not in practice. Yeah, it's definitely just run. Like, we just have to maximize our win probability. So run R&D, run archives, and yeah, exactly. Hope that we ripped points off Maw. Okay, well that definitely helps.
You did it. You got it.
We got it. We'll see. Oh, it's an Ikoa last click. Oh. GG. Yeah. Well, that's a close one. That's an interesting deck. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm a terrible runner player too. So.
You're so close. You can just say it. Just say it out loud. Of course, West, my guy.
Yeah, I mean, you could also look at that and be like, hey, if we hadn't mulliganed a good hand into a terrible hand, we get about 6 to 7 clicks back. And that probably does matter here. Right? We're 1 click off of winning in about 5 different ways. So let's do a few more with this, and we'll see, and we'll just see if I'm actually just terrible at runner, which is definitely a real possibility here. And that I've just been spamming ESSA. I will say, at the most recent CO I went to, I won more as runner than Corp. So, you know, did I go undefeated as runner? I think I might have, because I dodged the hard matchups. Really, that's not the site. No, there's no way I went undefeated as runner. 0 way. Yeah, I went 3-1. That makes more sense. Yeah, also both of those agendas being Ikoas is very lucky for our opponent. But yeah. I think it's like, oh, was that down to the mulligan? No, I'm sure if we went back and reviewed, and maybe that's what we'll do in the back half, is going back and review that game. I think that was an interesting game in terms of decisions, and we can look back and think about which ones maybe could have been made better. Because it's definitely a matchup I'm less familiar with, and that does tend to favor the Corp quite a bit. So. Another tough matchup. But not an impossible one by any means. All right, so what are you thinking about this hand here?
This is a ton of money, but no cards.
Yeah.
My first instinct is this is too much money.
I think that's probably where I'm leaning, especially because our high level plan, as Ed's asking about, I think. So when we didn't discuss it, I think we were talking about whether the Fairchild was supposed to go on the Botch was supposed to go on the draft or the Fairchild, and maybe that's actually the pivotal, the big difference this game is. If you put the Botchless on the Fairchild, it makes the game much easier. Yeah, like it's hard to. Oh, was there a Botchless on the Fairchild line that I missed? Oh, and then you just trash your whole board to get the Ikoa back. Oh, how do you beat the IP block, though? This hand feels very slow.
So yeah, to me, like this is like you have to click to draw, play econ cards, pass.
I think it's you play Fermenter and then just try and YOLO. Oh, you just install before you. Okay, yeah, on the very first click. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about that being an Ikoa for some reason. Let's keep this hand because it is like so much money. It's maybe good.
Okay.
And like, they're not gonna double ice here. Yeah, thank you. That is actually the correct line, which is you botch list the Fairchild 3, you Bankar into the remote, Okay, so we're just gonna like start running. I generally like to run HQ a little bit. Whether to run server 2 or not is tricky. I don't know that I mind it here.
What do you think it would be that you wouldn't want to run it?
So there's some 3-1s that I don't want it to be. This is the card I most didn't want it to be because it's just a lot of tempo for the corp.
Yeah. I hate cards.
But it's what makes sports metal strong. But we're not in a terrible spot either. Still gonna de-rest Spin Doctor, which is definitely unfortunate. Oh, that's pretty good for us. I almost wonder if you just pop the fermenter here, install the maw, and go to town. I think you want to run the Spin Doctor, make them use it. It feels tricky. Maw is a very big deal for this matchup, but I think we can wait till next turn when we put it down for no credits. Effectively. I want to get a card access here. Then we're just going to draw. And Paladin's fantastic here. So next turn to me, like they have to do some actual board building here. Because they just drew a giant hand. Okay, so this might be some kind of weird, like, Wanza nonsense or something. Or that might just be trying to protect against Stargate. So the line I like here is Fermenter, Gamble, Maw, and then we run HQ. We want to... Oh, well, that's unfortunate. You want to hit... We're going to try and trigger Maw once a turn every turn for the rest of the game. And we're going to try and make a run every turn, because that's how we're going to keep up pace here. I wanted to make sure we still had money. But we kind of have to see. I don't think Monza would... Yeah, Monza maybe goes on HQ in sports, but we'll see. Okay, so I'm still thinking about, like, I want to keep getting accesses. And so the other reason I liked our opening hand was because of Botulus. It's a really... You know, these sports metal decks don't run a lot. The overwrite on their own card in archives really strongly suggests to me this is core damage sports. And so they're just trying to get a Nightmare Archives into archives here. Okay, so we'll break a subroutine. We will break the last subroutine. And then I don't mind paying 6 for a single here. It's definitely not ideal, but we're not going to do it a lot, but we can do it here. Okay.
You trash the daily cast instead of the...
Yeah, that's true. We missed that a second time. Yes. Yeah. This is my brain's a little bit off, which it probably shouldn't be. But yeah, trashing the cast is definitely correct there instead. So if we think this is core sports, which I think based on the fact that we're seeing stock buyback, hyperloops, Elvigars, this is 100% core sports. We're going to have to play this matchup a little bit oddly, but not too badly. And we want to try and avoid running archives, which maybe means we're going to have to flip back to the other side here. But basically, you know, I don't want them to keep the Spin Doctor around forever. Oh, that's very kind of them. They shuffled back 2 agendas, so we do get to run archives. Let's 0 first in case we can do something better. I think run archives is still... it's probably raindrops archives just so that we have maximum tempo. But... Okay, so these might be Giordano Memorial Fields, actually, now that I think about it a bit more. Okay, so where do you want to put Bankar in this matchup? Let's do our draws and stuff first, but...
I don't know, man. I'm so scared.
Oh, what's there to be scared of here, though?
I guess I. To use a chess analogy, I don't know how to make progress in this position, right? Like, you
Yeah.
can get into HQ. I just think it's gonna accomplish minimally nothing.
Okay, so if this is Giordano Memorial Field, right, what we get is it would cost us 4 to go in. We would also have the Fairchild, so that would be, 3 credits. And we would take some net damage off of the ice. So that would be more money than we actually have. So we'd actually have to trash a card.
And you'd still have to pay 3 to trash it.
Hmm?
Right. The fields, or you would just leave it
Oh
there.
yeah, you're right. You're right. We would have to pay the field. So yeah, I think you're probably correct that HQ is maybe not the play. Though I think I'm never running R&D. Are we ever running R&D here? Yeah, I could see us running R&D here.
I mean, I guess. Okay, now I'm just talking out loud.
Yeah.
I don't think you're ever getting into efficiently either of those again. And so I kind of like, do you just econ and wait for them to try and score points somewhere? Because how are they? How is this deck going to be otherwise? I guess is the question.
Yeah, that's a good question. So like it is probably trying to score out with by doing nothing, and that's definitely Aksu is saying. Now we just sit back and try and find the Stargate, which I think is actually a pretty reasonable play.
Yeah.
So I think we can call. I would probably call Bankar on HQ because there's probably slightly more permutations of this turn that lead to us wanting to run HQ than R&D in my mind. I'm probably running Archives for the card and the credit here. Like, Botulus is a great card for us here, and we can definitely put it on one of these servers. Which do you have a preference for one of them? Because I think the thing I'm thinking about here is install Botulus on one of these things and then hit the 0. Because I think the server 5 is most likely something we don't care about.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And so the question is to put the Botulus on the other HQ to make it easier, or to make the other one like more even? Is that the question?
Yeah. Yeah, with the idea that, like, oh, maybe if Stargate is our late game win condition, Botulus sets us up for that to be good in the future.
I think I'm leaning toward the HQ. I guess.
And then we'll just hit 0. Fantastic. Fermentor's a pretty good find here as well. Yep, so this is like a 3-1. I don't mind too much about that happening.
Yeah, I think whatever.
Okay, so do we feel like putting Bankar on HQ this turn? I suspect so, right?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay. So the sequence that I'm thinking here is probably run Archives for a card and a credit. Install Liberated, click it twice. It's a little bit sad that we don't get any of our breakers in, but I think we get to do that next turn. It's going to take them a lot of money to fast advance out. Or at least a good chunk.
Yeah, we saw. I mean, we saw the biotic labor like 3 times, but
yeah. Oh, that's a fantastic draw here. So, yeah, what server do you feel like putting Bankar on this turn?
I mean, I feel like putting on an HQ is totally unnecessary.
Okay.
So I'm trying to think, is there a reason we would need to get into Archives? And I kind of think
Sorry. Oh. Sorry, I stepped away from the mic for a second.
No worries. Yeah, I think in terms of like what is it going to get us into, I think it's archives. But I
Okay.
think like we're very unlikely to need to get into archives, so I would probably put it on R&D. But
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
because I think you're gonna run HQ here, right? Because you have your botulism charged up. I think like
Yeah.
you're gonna run HQ. That's gonna get you in somewhere.
So I think the first thing I'm going to do is moshing away my 3 bin breakers.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Now I'm fine to run HQ. The reason I do it in that order is I almost am like, do I click the liberate? I want to have a few more credits for Giordano here.
Yeah, I think that clicking liberate
Okay.
makes sense.
It also helps for this exact situation. Though I'm not even sure if we're going to install the Black Orchestra here. Because it's a lot of credits to go into HQ now.
Yeah, and I mean the magnet just sends around, right? So
Yeah.
I think just bounce.
Yep. I'm probably running server 6 here. I actually kind of want to run R&D here, to be honest. There's not many real punishes, because we now actually have 2 cards that we don't mind trashing to a fair child in the future.
Right.
So maybe we should have, I think maybe you're right, we should have gone for R&D just to make this res extremely unappealing for them.
Yeah, I thought that there was more of a chance that we would need it here.
Yeah, I think that would have been a good shout, so. Okay, so what's our choices here with this Managarm? So obviously we can pay 5. We won't have quite enough credits to actually trash it. But what we get for that is that we don't have to run server 6. We get our Hoshiko trigger. And we can just click the liberated back. So I think it actually might be fine.
I think you pay the 5.
Yeah. So you card from deck first. Okay, a drafter. They're gonna maw the Managarm. We can't do anything. Actually might install the fermenter last click here.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah. So server 6 we don't need to do anything with. Hoshiko, Paladin, Fermenter, Bankar. So I'm feeling Bankar on R&D because that's probably the only place we're running this turn.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
But I'm not sure if we're actually running.
I even want to. Yeah, I don't even know that you want to run, but.
Let's see.
I mean, do you like click liberated twice and then play liberated?
I think I like. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm thinking we're going to moshing away casts MK deuces. And then click liberated twice, assuming we don't draw anything good.
And is this when we start our pivot into Stargate plan?
This is we're trying to set up the pivot to Stargate plan, yeah. I might even just Raindrops Cut Stone to draw a card and gain 3 credits off of the magnet. And then we actually have a fun line where we can like pinhole server 6, assuming it's not the last spin doctor, and snipe the Managarm that way and save ourselves some money. I guess we could actually do that this turn. Maybe that's the right way to do it. We'll use their empty servers against them. Next turn, I'm probably doing something like install liberated, clicking it 3 times, because we're not quite in a good enough position that we can Stargate yet. And our opponent seems to be determined that we're not going to get to Stargate here.
I mean, I guess this is like back to what I said before, which is like they're so heavily invested in centrals. I don't know how they're ever gonna score.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how you're ever gonna make a server.
Yeah, I think their plan is to try and fast advance. I think they're going to struggle.
Yeah, but that's a lot. That's 5 points of fast advance.
Yeah. Let's see. Where are you feeling about for Bankar this turn?
Yeah, I guess I don't think it matters too much because I think we're just econing.
Yeah, I think R&D is maybe my favorite because I don't think we actually want to run
R&D is the
archives.
choice. I just think it's not going to come up.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a line where we try and get the DreamNet laundry trigger and we just eat whatever this card is in server 6. But I think just install liberated, click it 3 times is fine here.
Good old Paladin.
Good old Paladin. All right, we're just in a money off, so they might have big deal, potentially. I'm still leaving this on R&D. There's definitely a small part of me that's like, do I just set up for the double hippo play? Like, it's across 2 turns, but like, is maybe the line to make HQ accessible? Or we can just actually...
To make HQ accessible? Or you...
Yeah, the other option is probably we click liberated, install the Stargate, and then make a run on R&D. Or a Stargate run on R&D. Or maybe it's Hippo. It's probably Hippo Stargate liberated run R&D.
Yeah, because I thought you were going to try and make R&D more accessible. Because the drafter doesn't actually cost that much to get through, right? So
it does not. That's a good point. Especially because we're dripping for 2 a turn right now.
So yeah, I think we're gonna break one of these 2 ice. One is not very expensive, so it's really just what's the other one, I guess.
Yeah. The question is, do we want to tank 2 or spend 3 credits here?
I think you spend the credits.
Okay. Yep. And then we're going to match a flight break Eli. So right now this is costing us 6, which is a little bit more than we can afford to do reliably. Okay. Well, that's certainly
and
a
then
set.
You could Hippo the Eli, no?
Unfortunately, Hippo is only the outermost ice.
Oh, the outermost, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to trash Luminal here because the Ontological is a 4-2, and Luminal is broken. They might be trying to draw for their last Spin Doctor here. This is probably the exception of we're not going to check archives, because like we know we're going to take Nightmare Archives here. Just guaranteed. Actually, maybe we want to Stargate. We want to run server 6 in case it's a Spin Doctor, and then Stargate next. Because it's actually... Yeah. Because they still can't win, actually. This is the thing that I keep forgetting. They still don't have a way to win this game here.
Yeah, I have no idea how they're going to win the game.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay. Probably still Bankar and R&D here, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I might Raindrops cut Stone Server 6.
Just for the $3.
Yeah. Garrett, even if it's a Spin Doctor, we get the $3. That's basically what I'm thinking here.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Perfect. Okay, so that's all the Spin Doctors gone. So to some extent, we could just kind of chill here.
Yeah, I think you draw maybe, right?
Yeah, I think we hit 0 because that's basically drawing here. Like, these laundries are not getting played this game.
Yep.
DJ does kind of want to make me see if we can make HQ a thing, but I think it's probably just not ever really going to be a thing. So drawing, I think, is fine. Beautiful. I almost want to hold... Do I want to hold the gamble for next turn? I don't think you need to optimize that much. I think it's okay to just play the gamble.
Yeah, I think you play the gamble.
I mean, this really makes me want to go after HQ now because they're now super invested in R&D, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they just purged us with the Mafires. That's why they did that play. Let's see. So we could... We run HQ. We could take a net damage. Trash the Botulus. Trash the MK. But we still have to spend 6 just to go in. So it's a little expensive. But we get a Steve back, and we probably get a Maw Trigger. I don't know. I think we're not running... Are we running R&D this turn anyway?
I don't think so.
I mean, I think it's not worth it on HQ, I guess, so...
I mean, if you put it on HQ, you take 1 damage, and then, like, your turn could just be accessing HQ, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember Giordano, but it's only 4 for us. So I think it might be install, get Steve.
But you really want 7, right? Because you really want to get rid of it, too.
Yeah. We could actually look at just pinhole threading it, which is maybe good.
Yeah.
But I think, honestly, we don't have to do anything this turn still, I think.
We play a Fermenter to start that.
I'm fine with actually just drawing and then installing the cast. The reason being, we still have good econ cards on our deck. We can find them, find them whenever we can. So here I'm thinking maybe Bankar on Archives just to make the pinhole threading play super easy. Like, kind of guaranteed. Yep, I don't care about any of these cards in my hand. Okay, it is the Giordano. That's nice to be gone. 6 credits. I'm not too worried about them doing much this turn, so we're just going to keep drawing. Oh, wow. That's a pretty nice draw.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So we actually can start setting up for that double hippo play, which is very nice. I think we don't... I think we almost want the deuces more, because gaining 3 and making a run is probably better than drawing 2 cards here. So that's actually... I think now that we have the multiple hippos, I want to magnet, blow up the Fairchild, or blow up the magnet, and then set up to blow up the Fairchild the following turn, unless they put down more ice. And we're just probably going to go for a pseudo deck out. But R&D, I guess, because we actually have to break the magnet to make this work. Let me think. So we spend 4 to break the magnet, and then 6 and trash the MK to break the... So that's 4 plus 6. So we can go gamble Bravado HQ. Okay. Then we'll match a fully break magnet. Actually, I wonder if you should just jack out here, but we're gonna just get back some Steve money, I guess.
A rules question. If you had
Yeah.
2 hippos, and is it unique?
Hippo is unique, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I stopped myself halfway through because I realized. I was like, if
Okay.
you had 2, could you just do them both? But
yeah. Okay, so we have 4 credits. Oh, we're gonna have a lot more than 4 credits. I could see getting back a Botulus, an Sure Gamble. I don't think it, or Fermenter. Like all of those seem fine to me. I'm maybe leaning for the Botulus.
I was leaning toward the Botulus.
Simply because if they do something rude to us, then we get to do rude things back. Okay. I actually want to hold on installing the Botulus, though. I want to install the Hippo, and then probably hit the 0 button, and we got lucky, which is great. We had a couple of bad hits there, but in theory, our next turn can actually just be click 1, run HQ, triple click through the Fairchild 3. I'm going to put Bankar on Archives. Seems like the server we'd run.
Yeah.
Let's see.
How much is it to get through that Fairchild?
It's 9 credits to break that Fairchild.
Yeah, I think just triple click.
Yeah, the other option is like Pop Fermenter or Bravado, but Bravado only gets us 3 credits in that situation, or nets us 3 credits in that situation. They could go to 5, which could be tricky. It'd be a pretty bold 5 to go to. That's the thing I don't like about the triple click on HQ. And it's like, it feels like to me like the way we lose.
That makes sense.
Like the way we lose this...
if you just eat the...
So you have to
just break the end the run?
So you have to break all subroutines to use Hippo, unfortunately.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But we'll just go laundry, I think. Because this can't be a spin doctor, we'll get our... we're guaranteed to get a dirty laundry trigger off here.
Nice. Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the HQ is probably building
yeah,
up. I
okay,
think it
so...
makes sense to check
yeah,
eight.
they were going for the really cheeky play of... They're gonna try.
I mean, I think they have to, right? Like.
Yeah, I think they have to because they're probably completely
and
lost on board.
I think you just run HQ again.
Yeah, we just run HQ. I think 2 more times here.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't care about this card. I think I'd rather let Ma force something out of their hand, and then we can run HQ again. And a fast break. Okay. So we don't need this. We don't need this. And then Paladin can trash our Black Orchestra here. So we can always get it back if need be. I think the Luminal got shuffled back in. Yeah, it did. So. Alright, so they're going for a... Oh.
Now, would it... I guess that's interesting. I was gonna say, would you trash Daily Cast instead of the Orchestra because it's 2 credits versus 3? Or
Um,
no?
no, because this is 2 credits I'm going to add to my credit pool, and these 3 credits I'll just get to use fully in the future. Okay, so they got the Luminal. They had a very good hand there. So they're on 5. There's probably 1 point in Archives, most likely. But we will see. Because basically, like, we'll be able to just reinstall those cards with for effectively free.
You just run Archives or run HQ until they die, right?
Yeah, I think we do have to run Archives last click.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah,
because they have winning lines if we don't, but it's not like a huge difference either way. Okay, we got it. Yeah, so they invested a ton on Centrals, and we just kind of
way too much.
Yeah, they invested too much on Centrals for what their deck I think wants to do.
So this was the only game that I felt good.
Yeah.
The other two felt so like, though, even the one where like it came down to the wire, that still felt swingy to me because it was 4-0 until you found like a random one of like send a message.
That's interesting. So the second game, like, we were definitely behind, and we were basically behind off the mulligan, and then like just drawing all of our breakers rather than drawing like gas cards, and that's probably the argument to just play a 45 card Hoshiko deck, instead of a 60 card Hoshiko deck. Is that that will happen less. The downside is you'll run out of gas against something like PE a little bit more often. But if you're expecting the meta to be lots of like the other thing here is like these decks that we've played against are a little bit less common in the meta than I would expect, right? Like if we go back to this, we have a CTM, a Sports Metal, and then 2 Ops, Outfits, Sparks, Sports. So maybe Sports Metal is the right call if everyone's playing big Hoshiko. I think it's a pretty solid call. I think Sports Metal's matchup against Essa, I think it's almost unconscionable. And like presumably this is core sports, so that your ontologicals are kind of live against Essa. But my general sense has been that Essa just mills out Sports Metal too fast for them to keep up.
That's interesting.
But against the Mirror Morph, if we have a little bit more of an aggressive hand, I think we get on top of them a little bit earlier. I don't feel like the 3-point agenda was that big of a deal. I think that forgetting that Ikawa is a card was the big deal. And yeah, Oxu's saying I think Outfit might be better into Big Hosh. I think that's my guess as well, is that Outfit is probably pretty reasonably favored against Big Hosh. But if Big Hosh can make it to turn 8 without losing, suddenly the matchup flips. Like, it's like Big Hoshiko has this like weird curve where you're behind, just barely keeping up, and then you just kind of like exponentially shoot up past what the Corp can do. And the bet with Big Hoshiko is that there's not enough Corps that can punish that slow start. And so what we're seeing, very interestingly, is a lot of people move to decks that punish slow starts for the runner. And so this is like the like we're in a very odd meta game where like the best 3 decks to me runner side are Big Hosh, Small Hosh, maybe Apoc Hosh is a third one, and then Essa. As like the four runner decks that you can play, with all slightly different upsides and downsides and different good matchups and bad matchups. And Corpse then like are playing this matrix against trying to predict what the field of runners are, and they're just trying to predict the field against each other because there's not as clear super strong decks. And the like my sense is that something like Asmari is a little bit sad to see Big Hosh because Bankar mitigates a lot of its game plan, because it's a 1-card solution to all of their single gear check ice, which is a big part of the way that deck functions quickly and aggressively. So. Um,
That belongs in a T-shirt. The Trinity of Hosh.
yeah. Do you want to do one more Hosh game? Do you want to try a different runner deck? Do you want to review a replay? Whatever, I'm happy to do whatever you'd like.
Yeah, if you want to do one more, I guess.
Okay. Oops.
Just reading the comments.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just saying, I don't think there's a deck that beats 3/4 of the top decks. I think, the pitch against Big Hosh is that. Yeah, I think that's right, Aksu. So it's like, there's not a corp that beats Apoc Hosh, Big Hosh, Small Hosh, and Essa, or beats 3 out of the 4 of those. So you pick the 2 that you think are going to be most popular, and try and make it work from there. All right, how do you feel about this hand?
Okay, to me, this hand is what you're looking for.
Yeah, completely agree. This hand's straight gas. The Maw's probably a little bit dead for a while because Hard-Hitting News is a card.
Yeah, it'll ruin your economy.
But if, like the ideal hit here obviously is Fermenter into 0, hit the Steel Skin, and then like just rocket off to the moon. And that is in fact what happened. That's fantastic. I'm probably just clicking for a credit here. I want to. The Deuces is such a versatile card in this matchup. I don't mind kind of sacking a click. Nico campaign is really interesting.
That was the dream right there, I think. What just happened?
Yeah, no, that's an ideal turn 1. For me, I'm feeling like gamble. Start checking the board a little bit, I guess. Because we'll be in a pretty good economics, or like gamble into 0 again, I think. Okay, less ideal, but I think that's still fine. I'm really tempted to see if Seabass is trying to sneak an Ares by us here. Because we're actually going to have a good economic foothold here. Okay, that's fine. That can live. We're not in a board state where we need to go and trash all this stuff on site. Getting the Hoshiko flip seems nice. And if we're going to commit to this running line, let's just try and clear out all threats here. Okay, this is a tricky question. So we trash the Gaslight. This is basically worth 2 credits to us because this Gaslight is getting a hard-hitting Econ Warfare, I think. So I think it seems okay. Oh, and I forgot that we get the Hoshiko flip as well. So that makes us sort of 3 credits harder to break. And then next turn is probably liberated 0. Or probably install liberated 0, whatever permutation of that you want to do. Yeah, there's also probably a good argument that you're supposed to kill the Nico campaign, but I'm not super sold on it, I think. Dreamnut's good, but I don't think it's worth installing before other stuff good. Yeah, I think we're fine to just click Liberated twice here. Like, our opponent does have to start putting threats on the board at some point. Just money isn't a threat on its own. Because once we're at 15 credits, even or 16 credits, Econ Warfare, HHN doesn't actually stop us from just clearing all the tags. So we even have a turn potentially of double-click the Liberated, install Maw, and run R&D for a single. And then just start mawing stuff out of their hand. Yeah, Aksu, I'll move our... Oh, God. Let's move my camera up in the scene. We'll just go
27 servers in this game.
Yeah. I will just shrink this cam a bit because I don't need to be that huge, and I know people want to see the lobby. There we go. So this could be a Sansan City grid, but I'd rather just let them, you know, show it to me first. Yeah, I'm pretty big on the like click liberate install maw. Start going. Maybe it's 0 first, actually. Oh, did we get a Stargate? Oh, I missed that we drew Stargate off of Hoshiko. Oh, that's super silly of me. The Stargate's actually just like straight gas here. Oh, that's a silly mistake to have made. Fourteen's technically a dangerous number. Well, I think I'm okay with living. Oh, right, we go up to 16 plus a link, so we're in a pretty decent spot still, I guess. Not quite. I guess Hoshiko's going to drain the credit back, but we can get down to a single tag at worst. And also click for 10 while doing that. Ladspursk, City Grid, NEH, scoring that. Okay. Oh, well, the game's going to redeem us a bit. Now, admittedly, the AR enhanced security is a little bit of a bummer for our plan here. Well, I don't think it's enough to actually make us really not want to do the Stargate. I think I care more about the hard-hitting news than anything else here. Do I care about a single tag? I feel like I don't. I like want to get the Maw trigger and also want to figure out other ways to get value out of this turn.
I guess yeah, I guess I value the Maw trigger a lot.
Yeah, I think it's quite good in this situation where we're trying to disrupt some kind of combo deck.
Yeah, and that part doesn't matter when you lose that.
Yeah, I think next turn is probably something like Stargate, Moshing, clear 2 tags. We could also start checking some of these servers. I don't know what server 1's going to be. I don't think we've seen it. Yeah, we haven't seen it. Okay. Tollbooth, Spin Doctor, Beal. This is an interesting one. Because we could just spend our entire turn and clear 1 tag again. Or we could just trash the... I mean, the thing is, I get the Spin Doctor, we don't run the Beal this turn. So I guess we're just committed to running the Beal. And then clearing 2 tags. Does that feel alright to you?
Yeah, I think so.
Or actually, we could even just moshing something away. Okay, so they had a Spin Doctor in hand. Or on the board. That makes some sense.
Actually find that a little, I mean, they have it, so it's fine, but I find it a little bit surprising because we were looking at one and I figured it might be a different one since they shuffled their deck.
Yeah. But no, I guess actually I should have known because the way they ordered it, the Nico trigger happened first. So that I actually thought about that and then didn't say it and then apparently completely forgot it. Um,
Just clear tags here. Or do you use the fermenter and clear one tag?
that's a question. I think if they want to take the whole turn off to purge my fermenter here, I don't mind too much. And I can just click for, what is that, 14 next turn, which seems pretty good. Is that a Bologna they just had naked on the board? We are getting cold red here. I think Stargate still seems quite good. Okay, Turnpike can go. Run R&D. Steal. Run R&D. Steal. And then we're going to drop one tag. We are in some real hard-hitting news danger here for sure. I guess we will be ending on 2 tags. I don't have a... We'd have to draw into one of our deuces here. So, like, there is some real danger to the line we took. And maybe you just let the Beal through. Interesting. This is definitely a weird board state.
So now I think you use the fermenter for sure.
Yeah, I think I agreed.
And then, so you do that.
Yeah, I want a laundry server 10, I think.
Okay. And then 1 and 7 have been there this whole time, and we don't know what they are. Is that right?
Yeah, they've been there for quite a while. Okay, this happens to be a spin doctor. I actually don't think I mind that at all.
No, I think getting rid of that's actually quite good.
Yeah. I probably do want to make a successful run here. I think I want a moshing first, though. How many hippos do we have in the bin?
But you don't want to... Okay.
Yeah. I think our intent is not to trash server 7, just to see it. And yeah, we do not care about regolith mining license at all, for sure. And the nice thing is that mod doesn't trigger Ares, so we're in a pretty solid spot. We still don't... I feel like server 5 is a ping, which is why I'm not going after it right now. Installing the bank card would also be an option, but with 1 tag, I think it doesn't actually accomplish anything.
Yeah, I think I would have cleared instead of playing the moshing. I'm not saying it's right for sure, just like that was what I was thinking about doing.
Yeah. Yeah, we do have to get at server 5 because they can go install, advance, score a 3-2, which is unfortunate. Oh, but we have the pinhole now, so I think next turn is just gamble, pinhole, clear, something like that. Yeah, okay, they got it. Yeah, so if they're playing a 2-1s, they probably have us here. I don't want them to be able to seamless and cheese a win that way, though. I wish I could provide a nice server here. It is what it is. There's maybe a world where I'm supposed to... Ugh.
So good.
Yeah. I was hoping to get that Maw trigger in there, but again, I kind of have to play around seamless here. If they have 2-1s, they've got 2-1s, and that's unfortunate. Yeah, maybe we're supposed to just provide OHQ at some point here, just make them start actually spending their money. But it probably doesn't actually matter either way. Did I click to draw that turn? I hope I didn't. I didn't. Okay, good. I would love to draw a deuces at some point here. It's like all we're waiting for. Now, admittedly, we've got only 2 left in 35, so odds are not really in our favor, but... Yep. Not finding our paperclip is definitely proving to be a challenge here. I wonder if we're actually supposed to Stargate that last click. Probably. At this point, we're just going full tag me. If they have boom, they've got us. But I think they had to win in a bunch of ways there. Cool. GG.
I think once you can't get through the ping, I think you like are in trouble.
Yeah, and so, you know, if we step back and think about like what do we need to be able to break, and if it's a ping, probably the line is and clear tags and drop the Bankar in hand. Yeah, so we made it through about half the deck and didn't see a single paperclip, which is a little bit unfortunate, but definitely we had lines to play around, so there's things to learn about. But yeah, cool. Well, I'm glad you've come on for me to help you learn Runner, and I've proceeded to go 1 and 4 or 1 and 3. So things going really well.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's you know, it's reassuring to see someone else struggle through it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, maybe what I really should have done is gotten someone who's actually a good big Hoshiko player to come on and do this. Because the honest answer to what I would play and what I'm probably going to play at Nats is Essa. Because, like, for a lot of these matchups, like, you just say, okay, sure, you do that, and I'll do something else. And it's like, if you really can't deal with hard-hitting news, like, okay, you just play with Marrow and don't install your other core damage cards, which slows you down a lot, but blanks all of their tag punishment cards. So it's like a bit of a trade-off. I think also, like, Seabass played it really well, sneaking a Bologna out on the board when we had roughly a so I actually want to shout out, like, this is, I think, just a very good play. Oops, that's not what I want. Which is on this... What turn do they install this Bologna? Okay, so we're on 15 credits. 10 credits, 16 credits. They score here. We Stargate. Okay, yeah, like, this is actually, like, a really heads-up play. And probably the way you're supposed to punish this is Big Hoshiko, where you say, you know what, they have the Ares, I don't need to Stargate here. And so making sure that server 9 isn't an agenda that wins them the game is probably a worthwhile run here. So there, it's like, but, you know, we're clearing tag and stuff. So it's definitely a little bit tricky, but when you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, the way you lose this is if we can't check, if we're going to lose by checking the remotes every turn. And like, if we just get paperclip, like, maybe this deck can't win, and that installing Stargate this early was actually a mistake. And as I think about it more, I'm like, yeah, this Stargate really baited us this game. Like, we were spending so many clicks on Stargate, and if we just spent those clicks drawing, getting our bank card down so we could blow up this Vlad grid, checking for the Bologna, like, this game looks really different. And so maybe that's like a lesson for learned. Next time I'm up against an asset yellow deck, NEH or CTM, My game plan is make sure you've got lots of money, make sure you have access to your breakers, keep the board clear, and that's the way you're going to win. You just don't bother with the Stargate once they have an Ares scored. I think if Seabass never scores an Ares, Stargate play is completely fine. But when Stargate becomes 2 clicks, 2 credits, trash 1 card, it's not as good anymore unless we're very, very far ahead. And to be that far ahead, you have to make sure that you've controlled all the threats on the board. So that's probably the lesson that we need to take from this game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it makes sense in the context of him having the agenda.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he doesn't sneak that Bologna by as well, like this game just goes incredibly hard in our favor. So like, I want to like Seabass should get a ton of credit here for playing really heads up and just going for like a good out. But
Ping, just carrying everything right there.
yeah, only piece of ice that has to get res the whole game. What are these? Are these also IP block and toll booth? Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, we saw the toll booth, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm assuming that's Eric. Yeah, AR enhanced security is often called Ares, because it's AE or it's ARES, so it's just the common way people call it. Yeah, I think so. Like maybe this is the thing that like I always when I'm playing Corp, I always go like, oh yeah, runner made a mistake by installing Stargate turn 3, turn 4 here, and then as soon as I sit down to play the runner side, I go, oh yeah, I install RNG's open. Let's install the Stargate, and it's like, did we need to though? Like, did this Stargate actually save us more than it gained us? And I probably not, right? We would have been okay without it. So, yeah, you're right. There was a Project Ares, but that card is so non-relevant that everyone just calls this card Ares. Let me pull up. I wonder if this works. Okay, it doesn't. So give me 1 second. We'll just go here. Yeah, I can't believe they actually reprinted this in RevCore 2. Yeah, I think Aksu Stargate feels good, but you don't need it to win in a lot of cases. Like, so actually, that's not okay. Stargate is really important in sports medal and outfit matchups, where installing it early is a huge determiner of your ability to leverage to get to a win. In these matchups where you can be ahead on money, I think Stargate might be a little bit more of a trap than it's good. Is maybe the lesson I want to take at least from this game. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think for me, I don't even know how much it was like Stargate versus anything else. It was like check remotes so they don't sneak Bologna by.
Yeah.
And I think that one tag that you hung onto for a long time, like I think you had to clear that.
Yeah, I think knowing that Bankar is our only way to get through pings, we kind of have to. Yeah, actually, yeah, it's not the optimal line, but it always feels good. I'm gonna play Ghost Tongue just to mix it up so that we can play one kind of Ooga Booga game, and then I might actually call the stream a little bit early tonight.
Sounds good.
So
You gotta inspire me with this Ghost Tongue thing because I played it at your event and I thought, play against a lot of avocado protocols. That's all I'm saying.
Sorry, just catching up on some drama, but
Drama.
but yeah. So we'll have to see, and probably I'll go very you know we'll lose this one as well, but
The true runner experience.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, even when you play runner and feel good, like, it's I don't know. There's the meta's in an interesting spot for sure. So, um,
I think our conversation never saw the light of day, but I mean, for people who don't know me, it's not that I think like Corp is like inherently broken. I think it's like a card pool thing because I think in startup it's like kind of the opposite. I think startup is like runners just running over corpse.
yeah, and I'm not sure if like it's interesting. Like, if you think about the decks we played, like, there's a bunch of other options we could have played runner side that would have really good. Like, honestly, I think if we played Ghost Tongue Essa into maybe all but that Near Earth Hub game, we should have been pretty reasonably favored.
Yeah, it would have been more favorable.
So, all right. Well, Eric decided to swing by. This hand's pretty bad. It's got 2.5 cards I want to see, and the rest of them not really. So we're gonna. Oh yeah, this is a much better hand. This is a great hand.
Yeah, that first one was no money, right? I guess my priorities are like money is priority 1, and then cards is like 1C.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's about right. I like they're both pretty valid, and then it's just like, okay, do I want to play this card sometime in the first 4 turns after that? But like, you have to have a very well functioning deck for that to be a going concern. Okay, so here, like, I'm pretty happy. We're just gonna laundry R&D because it's the highest value. Like, yes, there
Do
could
you
be
still
a
skin
chance.
first?
No, because I want to always get my steel skins for 0, for really no effort. Like, playing steel skin to draw 3 versus playing it. Basically, I'm saying, oh, installing this card is worth the click of worth the 1 card I'm losing because I'm getting that tempo back, so I can spend that click to draw a card instead, and so it's just kind of better.
Do you run R&D and gamble here, or?
So we already ran R&D.
Archives I meant.
Oh, there's not a huge need to run archives yet, so I'm actually playing to just draw twice.
Okay.
So that next turn we can go It's a little bit unfortunate that we're gonna have to go gamble Ghost Tongue, but that's just kind of the nature of the beast. I'm also quite surprised that Eric didn't mill off the top of R&D because he knew it was safe. I guess he was worried about us running back in. But okay, so the one small optimization I'm going to do here is get the Botulus on HQ because it just makes it so much easier to play the deck. And now I'm more okay. Like, I don't mind stealing an oboe with this hand. I don't think we will, but okay. The Mavire's being in there is a little unfortunate. We steal an Off-World Office. This is some kind of fairish Glacier deck. And I feel already quite ahead here. Not because of the 2 points though. Even if there was no points in archives here, I think I'd feel pretty good.
Yeah, sounds to me.
So, we'll Raindrops cut stone server 1. I just want to keep making money while we can. At 11 credits, I don't feel like we need to run into Anansi here. There's definitely a line where you're running hot, but I actually think I might want to wait till Eric has fewer cards in hand and has to make difficult choices. Okay, so I'm going to play a Labor Rights for value here. We got a paperclip in the bin, which isn't great because we already had one in the bin, but that's okay. And then we're going to put back our 2 steel skins. And against this deck, probably a raindrops versus bravado is a little bit of both. Great. I think we'll just overdraw here. The first labor rights, I think, like, there's going to be my experience with playing this deck is one of your labor rights is just going to be a straight up value card. It's not going to do anything else for you. And so then it's just making sure that you use your other 2 to recur your important pieces. Once Eric spends a lot of time dumping cards from his hand here, that's when I want to go for the running hot play. Because then we're more likely to get mills off of R&D that are going to be higher density. The sprint is probably increasing the density as well. And yeah, that makes me pretty happy, all things considered. We still kind of have to be a little bit wary of the Anansi, which is unfortunate, but... no, this is from Neon Static, Eric, not Whiteblade. Whiteblade, I'm sure, wants to style on me, but I don't think wants to style... I hope doesn't want to style on me this much to run Isuwak. So... Okay, so often I'm playing running hots as just like draw. Like they're just kind of like extra diesels that do some extra stuff. So like I don't mind this. The question is, do I try and laundry HQ here? If we hit an Anansi, I don't think I care about losing any of these cards though. So I actually don't mind this, just so we can get some sense of how scary this ice is. Apparently not scary enough. Hey, longevity serum. Let's just go back in if you're gonna let me in multiple times.
Do you legwork this time?
I think after a sprint, I'm not, but you're calling for it. Aksu's calling for it.
I mean, I think the reason I was thinking about it is you would know they're a complete hand, right? I think.
Yeah. Yeah, we would know their full hand. I think the reason I'm like a little bit not huge on it is it's just it doesn't actually.
And they have the other thing is they have 5 unknown cards in archives and no spin doctor. Is that worth checking?
Yes, it just purges the botch list. So I was hoping to get them to res the ice so I could use the botch list first. Yeah. I almost prefer running for a single here. The reason being, I think they've done a lot of filtering. And I'd rather wait for them to do a burst draw, and then we can go in for the legwork.
Yeah, I think I just value, even if the legwork misses, I value knowing a complete hand.
Yeah, I don't think it's wrong to go for that play by any means. I think that for me, I'm just feeling like I don't know that they can stop us just doing whatever we want here. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like I can just run at server 2 here. Even if I have to eat an Anansi, it's not the end of the world, but I think I also have the line of running hot first. We draw once. I mean, this is looking pretty good. We can Shtushka. We actually break anything here. And then this is probably a turn we do want to run archives. 4 cards on the top of R&D. This turn I might do the legwork, just because if we do grab 2 points here, it's pretty good. I don't think I want to trash the Lacosta here. Another Lacosta and then the Seamless Launch, yeah. We'll play the Steelskin Scarring to draw 3. We'll run archives in case there's a weird thing going on, but send a message wins us the game. Flood is real. Yeah, turn 5. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing is like as Aksu was alluding to, like the neat thing about ESSA is that it is actually a really linear game plan, which more closely resembles a corp. I think you still end up like making a lot of runner decisions, obviously, um, but like a lot of those turns felt, I think, pretty automatic, and like it helps that we were up against a jankier corp for sure. Um, but you've got like this very clear idea of like I'm gonna threaten the remotes just enough to keep them honest, and then as soon as they do that, I can blow them up on centrals. And if they get a slow start, I get to just blow them up immediately if I draw well. And I have so many ways to draw well in this deck, and that's kind of the idea. Does that make some sense?
I think like when I was playing it in the event, it was like a lot of drawing triple ghost tongue or like combination of like multiple ghost tongue, multiple marrows, and just like I could never get anywhere. I felt like
Mm-hmm. Were you playing a version with 3 diesels?
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this. Yeah, it's like it's the other thing I maybe sometimes people see people not doing is like doing labor rights just to like try and draw some more, because labor rights, it can mill your bin breakers for you and then also just put back value cards into your deck. You don't need to try and save it to recur your highest impact cards, which is like one way that labor rights has been used in the past. But in this case, you just kind of say, this is probably draw 1.5 cards, and put increase the density of good cards and decrease the density of ghost tongues and marrows in my deck. Aksu, I think she also loses pretty hard to Ag Infusion. Um, and depending on the asset spam matchup, it could be very, very rough. Um, I think the asset spam matchup is like it's not terrible, but you have to know what you're doing a little bit more than you do in other matchups. Um, I have not found it losing to sports nearly as much as that. I find it beats sports with more regularity than Reg Anarch. But I also might just be really bad at playing Reg Anarch into sports, so that might be coloring my vision here. Um, but that's just my experience with it. Um, yeah, I found Reg Anarch to struggle a bit against sports, which probably suggests that I'm just not playing it very well. Um, yeah, cool. Well, thank you, D, for the commentary, and thank you, Derek, for coming on. It's been a lot of fun to have you on. Sorry that we couldn't get a lot of footage with what I claimed was the best deck. Uh,
That's okay.
but one thing you could
There-
also look at is you could look at those Hoshiko games and go, okay, what cards Stargate Reg Anarch and Stargate themselves into a loss. Yes, we demonstrated really well today. Um, and yeah, Derek's been on the comms, D. And honestly, if you want to go back, D, and watch these games and then just type up a long tirade in the comments about all the mistakes I made, I would honestly be much obliged. So, Oxo, I will say after today, I'm less on Big Hosh. I'm still being told that Big Hosh is the best deck, but it definitely felt a little bit awkward today into a bunch of HB and outfit and sports medal stuff. So, I don't know. Um, but yeah, cool. Well, but yeah, what I was gonna say is, if you want to look at the Big Hosh list, like, I don't, not that like there's an optimal 62 card list out there, but like there's maybe some cuts to taste that you can make with this list to make it more consistent or find things that you like more than others. Um, but
I love
yeah,
Hippo.
Hippo is a great reason to play Anarch, and yeah, zero Mad Dash is a mistake in this list. I don't think it makes a difference in any of our games today, but it is a big. If you're gonna play Stargate, you should be playing Mad Dash. So that's actually thank you. That's a good shout out, D. That this absolutely needs to have Mad Dash in it, maybe even two. That's actually how you make the sports matchup playable, I think, because you just get to turn 2 points into 3 points, or 1 point into 3 points in 2 points in some cases. Yeah, that's the card that makes the Stargate actually worth it. I don't think we got to 6 points and lost in any of our games today. We just got to 5 points and lost, but yeah, cool. All right, well, thank you, Derek. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much.
What was I thinking? I'm not sure if I'm going to do a stream next week because I'm sort of anticipating that if NSG is going to hit the release date of the end of July, that spoiler season may have. Actually, no, it won't have started by then. I think if they do even a 2 week spoilers, if they do a 2 week spoiler season, it will have just started. I will say I have gotten my spoiler cards already, so I actually need to make a video for that probably this weekend. So I think stuff is coming pretty soon, but I don't have official dates, and we obviously don't as a community. But spoiler season will be coming up real soon. I will be doing daily casts, so that's a daily recap and discussion for roughly 45 minutes to an hour with 2 to 3 guests. That will start whenever spoilers start. I will probably have to miss a day or two here and there, unfortunately. NSG just managed to plan it for like the weekends in July that I am traveling a bunch. I'm going to try and make it work. Maybe we'll do a live daily cast from Nationals if spoilers are happening then. But we will see. And I think with that, I'm going to call it good night. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks again to Derek, and thanks everyone for chatting. It's been a lot of fun. And have a good night.